What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give our takes on AEW. It is Wednesday night, November 9th, 2022, and we're back with the AEW Dynamite reviews. From here, I promise, from here on out, Wednesday nights, as long as I'm busy, Wednesday nights are dedicated here to the channel for AEW. I've been very busy, not just on Wednesdays, but for almost the entire fall season now, with college work, college, Miami Dolphins content. I've been really getting it with the Miami Dolphins content, and I gotta bring back the wrestling content. I know the World Series has also taken over on a couple Wednesdays, the MLB playoffs, the World Series. A couple Wednesdays ago, I was sick, so I didn't do it then, but I promise y'all, I'm back for Wednesday nights, here on out, unless I'm busy with something and can't do it that week. I'm here Wednesday nights, AEW, dedicated to the Big Fight Field channel on Wednesday nights. I'm by myself tonight. No Wesley Williams, no Cameron Johnson. It's fine. All good. Spoke with them earlier. But we're going to go over Dynamite tonight. We are 10 days away until Full Gear, which Full Gear happens to fall on the bye week of the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins play the Cleveland Browns this week. And then they have a bye next week, which is beautiful, which means most of my content next week is going to be AEW related, which I'll talk about at the end of this video. But overall tonight, I thought it was very good. I enjoyed the show tonight. I thought the crowd could have been a little bit louder than usual, but I really enjoyed Dynamite tonight. I thought it was a very good show. Lots of good matches, some great building story blocks to Full Gear. We already have a lot of matches for Full Gear next Saturday, and it's looking like a great pay-per-view, man. It really is, and I'll be damn sure. I'll be for sure watching that. So I appreciate y'all. Before we go ahead and get into the festivities tonight, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of content coming up. Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns this week. Next week, mostly Full Gear, besides one Dolphins videos. And then after the bye week, we're going to be home stretching it from after Thanksgiving till the beginning of the new year for Miami Dolphins content. It's going to be insane. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to try to get guests on the channel. I'm trying to get one right now for Texans week when they play the Texans after the bye. So it should be awesome. And then of course we got Full Gear. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you're a Dolphins fan, be sure to go ahead and check out this past Sunday's post-game wrap-up video with the Dolphins against the Bears, and also Monday I did a video. It's time to discuss Tua Tagovailoa as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So if you have not already, go ahead and check those out. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're not a Dolphins fan or a football fan, you don't have to. So the choice is yours. The choice is yours. But let's get into Dynamite tonight, live from Boston, Massachusetts. We started off with an 8-man tag between the Gun Club, Austin and Colton Gunn, teaming up with Swerve and Out Glory, Swerve Strickland, and Keith Lee, which Keith Lee did not, or Swerve went for the fist pump during Keith Lee's entrance, which was not given to him, and Keith Lee denied the fist bump, so a little bit of tension between the two for a possible turn next Saturday. I think so. They went up against FTR and the AEW Tag Team Champions, The Acclaimed, who had a rap about Tom Brady losing and Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie Irving's getting suspended, or he did get suspended. Great rap by Caster, as always. It was a good match. It was a really fun match. 8-man tag, very chaotic. Daddy Ass came out after the rap and tried to beat the shit out of Swerve because he injured his hand a couple weeks ago. But this was a fun 8-man tag. Kind of tensions by FTR and the Acclaim, but not too much. A little bit of tension between Swerve and Out Glory, which I believe is going to lead to a full-blown heel turn for Swerve next week at Full Gear, the pay-per-view. And really fun match. Anthony Bowens pins Colton Gunn after a combination of the big rig and the mic drop. The Acclaimed have been killing it as tag team champions. This feud with Swerve and Out Glory's been really fun over the past couple months, and it looks like it's culminating and coming to an end Sunday at the Full Gear pay-per-view, next week at Full Gear with match 3 for the AEW Tag Team Championship. So I'm really looking forward to that one. MJF. We'll get into MJF real quick. MJF has not been at the Dynamite tapings because he's filming a movie. There was rumors. I don't really pay attention, by the way. I don't really pay attention to wrestling Twitter now. I'm like strictly Dolphins Twitter, because wrestling Twitter is just a complete mess, okay? I don't like wrestling Twitter. It's a bunch of goofballs over there. But from what I scour on the internet, MJF wants to be a movie star. That's one of his goals in life. And MJF is starring in a movie right now. I can't remember what movie he is, but that's why he's been absent from television the past couple weeks. But they filmed a segment, him on a podcast. It was really good. He talks about how Full Gear is a regular match for Moxley, but this is a crowning moment for him. And he says this could be a potential crowning moment of the next face, the next generation of professional wrestling. And he talks about wanting to carry AEW and wanting to carry professional wrestling for many, many years to come. And the one goal he has to show is having a long, juicy reign. That's what he said with the AEW World Championship. And he says, with his time in AEW, it's been wonderful, but the spotlight's been taken away from him a bunch of times. With he mentions Cody Rhodes, the neck tattoo, John Moxley. The spotlight was supposed to be on him that night, yet it was on Matt Hardy being stupid. Humpty Dumpty is what he called it. He said he was on top of the cage, which was supposed to be his crowning moment, standing on top of the world, but it was all focused on cushioning. And Chris Jericho took away his spotlight for over a year. He then goes into his return at All Out and how that was supposed to be his crowning moment, and that it was ruined by a press conference. So now he's going to grab it. He's going to grab that spotlight, and it's going to shine on him for as long as he wants. And I thought it was great. I thought it was beautiful story with the spotlight always getting taken away from him. And next Saturday, he's getting that spotlight on himself. I really do hope it does, man. He's someone that deserves this. I know he just came back like 2 months ago, but the man has just done so much for that company. In his time in AEW, he's a gem. He's a gem, man. He's awesome. So I hope next week, I'm pretty sure he'll get that crowning moment against John Moxley. We got the first match of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. I don't really know what this bracket is this year. It's not that stacked at all. It's a very predictable finals. We had Ethan Page going up against Eddie Kingston. I don't know why you're putting Eddie Kingston in this. If he's in there to lose in the first round, can't you find somebody else? Because Eddie Kingston's one of your best guys. That's just me personally. But Eddie Kingston went 1-on-1 against Ethan Page. I thought their match was good. Stokely Hathaway, he distracted Kingston when Kingston had the stretch muffler in on Ethan Page, and Ethan Page was tapping out while Stokely Hathaway was distracting the ref. Ortiz then chased away Stokely Hathaway. Ethan Page then hit a top rope Ego's Edge, which looked like he was struggling. It was pretty impressive, and Eddie Kingston fell pretty hard, and he got the win over Eddie Kingston. And by the way, television's going the past couple weeks, and Tony Khan is pushing the firm. I do think Ethan Page is more than likely going to be in the finals of the World Title Eliminator Tournament. It's more than likely going to be him against Ricky Starks. We have 3 World Title Eliminator Tournament matches on Friday. Rampage. We got Lance Archer against Ricky Starks. Bandito against Roosh. And we also got Brian Cage going up against Dante Martin. So I guess we'll see how those goes. But Ethan Page got the win over Eddie Kingston tonight. We had Arya Daivari out there issuing an open challenge for this didn't make sense. He was issuing an open challenge for the TNT champion. I don't know why. From what I'm keeping up with, the TNT championship has no momentum. And it's unfortunate because it's on a guy who's loved. Everybody loves Wardlow. But there's just, he's getting these jobber opponents for the TNT championship that no one cares about. Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, Brian Cage was a good one. That was a really good match. Matt Taven, they're giving Wardlow, Tony Khan's giving Wardlow nobody. And I'll get into what happened at the end, which I really like the direction if this is what's happening for Full Gear. So Wardlow, as expected, squashed Arya Daivari, destroyed him, 5 power bombs, I believe it was, and he got on the microphone and he called out Powerhouse Hobbs because Hobbs has been attacking him for the past couple weeks and signaling that he wants Wardlow's TNT championship. Hobbs came out, Wardlow was talking trash, but he was attacked from behind by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe hit the Ring of Honor Television Championship over the head of Wardlow, and he choked out Wardlow, standing tall with the Ring of Honor title. And I was actually really happy about this. I was happy about this because I never clicked with the Samoa Joe Wardlow team. I just felt like it was so random, so out of the blue. I didn't know I really didn't know what the purpose was. But I'm happy it's over because now it looks like we could be setting up a 3-way of big men for the TNT Championship, which I love. The TNT Championship needs direction. The TNT Championship needs importance. How long have we been saying this for? We've been saying this for, it's been all year. All year we've been saying the TNT Championship needs direction. This could be it. I don't know. This looks like a really good match for Full Gear with a potential Powerhouse Hobbs for Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship. So, if that's the match for Full Gear, sign me up because that should be amazing. That should be amazing. Probably the best thing of the night, we had Saraya. Saraya cut a promo with Britt Baker. It was a face-to-face between those two with Tony Schiavone. And Saraya was like, the past couple of weeks I've had MRIs everywhere, and it's very unfortunate for Britt Baker that I'm cleared. I'm 100% cleared, and AEW is her house. Then Britt starts talking about how she's been built from the ground up in AEW, and how this AEW is her house, and Saraya was like, you know nothing about pressure, you don't know shit about building anything. I've built myself up for 17 years. I've been wrestling since I was 13 years old. She was really getting into it. She was getting teary-eyed, and she said the way it's going to happen is it's going to be me versus you at Full Gear. So Saraya is back. I mean, that's awesome. A lot of women matches for Full Gear, which honestly I have no issue with. None at all. But we're getting Saraya against Britt Baker. They've been building it up for the past couple weeks. And that should be a really good match. A key difference that I'm noticing between Full Gear and All Out this past September, not really a lot of build for All Out. It just felt like a lot of matches were thrown together at the end, while these matches actually have story to them. You look at Moxley and MJF. You look at Saraya and Britt Baker. You look at Swerve and El Glory and The Acclaimed. You look at everything that's going on with Darby Allin and Jay Lethal. Those are good stories going into the pay-per-view, and it was just a key difference as to why I'm more excited for Full Gear than I was All Out. So, but I just wanted to bring that up. Really good story. And Saraya cut a hell of a promo after the segment was over. Britt went to attack Saraya. Saraya quickly got that out of the way. She hit her DDT onto Britt Baker, and she stood tall. So I'm looking forward to it. We have another wrestler who's dealt with a neck injury and is cleared. We've seen it with Edge. We've seen it with Bryan Danielson. And now we're seeing it with Saraya. And she's going to get a big test against Britt Baker. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how she holds her own in her first match in a very, very long time. Let me just see where I got to get to next here. We have Jay Lethal against Trent. This was kind of a filler match for the night. They set up a match on Friday between Lee Johnson and Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic title. Lee Johnson's all of a sudden in the factory. I don't know how that occurred, but we had Trent against Jay Lethal. Match was fine for what it was. Satnam Singh beat up Danhausen on the outside. Lethal hit lethal injection on Trent, and he got the win. Then after the match, they introduced Jeff Jarrett, who debuted last week while I was watching the World Series. And while many people were kind of negative about it, I'm thrilled. I saw the work. I mean, obviously, I've seen a lot of work with Jeff Jarrett, going back and watching his days in TNA, but more recently, you guys remember late summer, late July, when we had Ric Flair's last match, and Ric Flair fought against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett while teaming up with Andrade. Well, Jeff Jarrett was an absolute heat magnet. Jeff Jarrett played a really good heel during that entire, I would say, 6-week build going into that last match with Ric Flair. It was awesome. It was one of the best things all summer for me. Jeff Jarrett was amazing. I'm thrilled that he's in AEW. Honestly, it sounds like it's terrible because he's so old, but he's just so good, man. He's so good, and he could still wrestle too. So I don't care that it's TNA. It's kind of written like TNA. I don't care. Jeff Jarrett is awesome. So that's a W for Tony Khan in my book. I love Jeff Jarrett. But he talked about what connects him so much with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. And he talked about signing Jay Lethal to his first company ever. Jay Lethal's first company was signed under Double J himself, Jeff Jarrett, and Sanjay Dutt. He's known him for 15 years, and Satnam Singh. Oh boy, I have this written down on my phone somewhere. I gotta find it. He was running through accolades with Satnam Singh. He said, "This is not no make-believe monster who wears red skinny jeans and is produced by a banana-nosed geek. He's taking shots at Braun Strowman, that clown, and Triple H." Good. I hate Braun Strowman. That guy sucks. But I thought that was funny. But he then goes on to challenge Sting and Darby Allin for a match at Full Gear. And I'm totally down with that. I'm down with that. I'm cool with this program. I mean, could Darby Allin be doing something a little bit better? Maybe. But for what it is, I think it'll be good. So, Mox came out after this. Moxley with William Regal, and this was about MJF, and he said he's known William Regal for, he would say, 20 years or so. He said when he was 25 and he was young and feisty and wanting to be the best. Who does that remind you of? And he said MJF. And Moxley then says MJF hasn't done shit in this business yet. And he talks about MJF doesn't know what it feels like to have the weight on your shoulders. MJF doesn't know how it feels like to have to carry the company on your back. MJF doesn't know how it feels like for the big match feel. He said MJF challenged Moxley back for the world title in 2020. And he said it's no different now than it was back then when MJF was so confident and Moxley had to teach him a lesson and bust him up. And he beat him. He says he didn't care what the circumstances was. He had to teach MJF a lesson. So this was mostly about MJF not being ready. He says Moxley said that him and Regal both want MJF to one day carry the company on the back, carry pro wrestling on his back, but that ain't right now. So really, the promos by Moxley and MJF, it's unfortunate that MJF wasn't able to be there tonight. The one segment from a couple weeks ago, it was on a Tuesday night, and Game 1 of the NLCS was on between the Phillies and the Padres. So I was watching that. I went back a couple days later and watched a segment between William Regal and MJF, and honestly, dude, that might be one of the best segments of the entire year. That was incredible by MJF and William Regal. But this has by far been the best built story, the best feud going into the pay-per-view. And I'm excited for MJF's crowning moment next week, next Sunday, next Saturday. I keep getting it mixed up. Next Saturday should be his crowning moment. So we'll see. Sky Blue against Jamie Hayter. Kind of a good match. Jamie Hayter is challenging Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. next week at Full Gear. Sky Blue is on the rise. She's been very good. And Jamie Hayter gets the win with a sick ripcord lariat, a really good lariat. And, yeah, she gets the win after the match. She continues to attack Sky Blue. Toni Storm tries to come in, but Jamie Hayter runs away. And then finally, the main event. Sammy Guevara, Bryan Danielson, 2 out of 3 falls. This was probably the best thing of the night. This was fantastic. I don't like Sammy Guevara. I think his character sucks. I think the recent shit that's happened with him backstage makes me dislike him even more. He's probably disliked in the wrestling community. But damn, when you gotta admit something, you gotta admit something. Sammy Guevara, he's amazing. The wrestler Sammy Guevara is amazing. He is putting on banger after banger, man. He's killing it. I saw that one match with Bryan Danielson a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. Now tonight, this match was fantastic with Bryan Danielson. You know, you might not like him, who he is, backstage, but he's putting the work in the ring, man. He lost to Bryan Danielson 2-1. Bryan Danielson got the first fall after Guevara threw a steel chair into the face of Bryan Danielson after Bryan was getting confronted by Ty Conti. So that was kind of busting Bryan Danielson up. Guevara continued that by poking the edge of the microphone into the eye of Bryan Danielson. So that was even more rough for Danielson. We came back from commercial break, and the entire right side of Danielson's eye was all bleeding. So the storyline was he couldn't see, and, Danielson's eye played a huge factor into this, and it played a huge factor into the second fall because he couldn't see when Sammy caught him into the GTH, and he tied it up at 1. Then Ty Conti got kicked out, and they were going back and forth. Really good stuff between the both of them. Bryan Danielson ended up getting the win with the label lock. Guevara moving near the ropes. Danielson makes the adjustments, puts in the rings of Saturn. Guevara goes to sleep, and Danielson wins. So it was a good preview going into the Fatal 4-Way match, going into Full Gear for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Let me see real quick, because we do have some updated matches going into Full Gear. Let me see if I can get all of it here. Shit. All right, here we go. I got it. So, right now, Wednesday, we're sitting out 10 days away from Full Gear. Confirmed matches is MJF versus Moxley for the AEW World Championship. That's more than likely going to be your main event. Chris Jericho versus Sammy Guevara versus Bryan Danielson versus Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Jamie Hayter against Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. Swerve and Out Glory against the Acclaimed for the Tag Team titles. Nyla Rose against Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship. The AEW World Title Eliminator Final. Saraya against Britt Baker. And Sting and Darby Allin against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. So that's 8 matches right there, and I'm telling you, man, this looks better than All Out. This looks a lot better than All Out is. So, All Out was. I thought the build to that show was not good at all. It ended up being a very good pay-per-view, but the build was not good. So I think this is a lot better, and I think this will be a lot better show. So, we'll see. I'm getting out of here, though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have not already, be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. I'll be back on Friday Yes, Friday, for your preview. Cleveland Browns, Miami Dolphins matchup this week. Crucial game for the Dolphins right before the bye week. I'm going to talk all about that Friday on the Big Fight Field channel. And then, of course, Sunday, right after that game, back right here on the channel for the post-game wrap-up show to talk about the Browns against the Dolphins. Next week, the Miami Dolphins are on a bye, which is beautiful because Full Gear is next week. The only Dolphins video I'm going to make next week is normally what I do during bye weeks now. I did it last year. I'm going to do it again this year, is make a video of the state of the Miami Dolphins. So that's the only Dolphins video next week. Then we got Dynamite on Wednesday. I'm probably going to fit Full Gear predictions on Thursday night. And then Saturday, reviewing Full Gear here on the Big Fight Field channel. So next week should be pretty fun, man, if you're a fan of AEW here on the channel. So be sure to subscribe to that. Comment down below your thoughts about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me tonight. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Colin_Joseph. We're making a lot of content on TikTok lately. If you love sports, not just Miami Dolphins, not just the Phillies, if you love sports, follow me on TikTok at Colin_Joseph. And guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay classy. I'm out. Peace.